right, this is Dave Bennett. We're still chatting about how to use MOWG with theme to HTML, covering most of the stuff. We just got done doing the bit where we put the menu column into the var sheet, and we didn't do it manually. We did it by using the menu generator. Okay, so you guys saw what we did there. Okay, we already talked about using a keyword column to pull it off, and it was pretty simple. It was just choose some column and put a number 2 here for the results and hit submit, and you're done. Okay, and then just save it and close it. Okay, don't save it again. Now, here's where we basically left off, and I believe that we did, didn't we? Fix it up in MOWG Pro to be able to connect that up correctly, or did it not work? I gotta remember now. Whoops, I don't want to load a profile. I have to hit this to create the profile I need. And we had what? Like our dummy.com. It could really be anything, right? d.org/s. Okay, that really counts already. That's enough to trick the system into thinking you did it. All right, here we go. We got to put this stuff into the HTML file. Now, this seems to be a lot of stuff we have to put in. var1, var2, var3, 8001 and 2, and the menu and the project. And by the way, you might be thinking, okay, I kind of got all of that except for when you say project, where did that come from? Okay, I'm going to show you in a minute. First, I want to remember what var1 was. I see. That was our geo targets, right? Because in this case, we were looking for a list of cities near. Remember how to do that on Google. Just drill it in. List of cities near, and I don't care what city. It doesn't even have to be a big one. So here's like a small city. Augusta, Michigan. Okay, I know it's a small city. And if I look for travel math, it tells me the cities near, and that includes East Grand Rapids, that includes Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. These are big cities, right? Battle Creek, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids. But there you have it, okay? And other smaller cities nearby. All right, so having said that, let us close that out. So you understand how that works. All right, so I got to get these in there, all right? So let's just kind of, and the project, let me explain what the project one is when we get to it. Let's do the rest. So if I open this thing, I want var1 in here somewhere, and we're thinking that we do want to make this run work, right? If you're searching for, you know, the best, what is var201? I don't need to reopen it. I just want to find this. If you are looking for, searching for, trying to find, what's it say? The Atlanta, Georgia plumbers, right? Or Atlanta, Georgia plumbers. I don't need the word the in that case, okay? Atlanta, Georgia plumbers, you know, or even the best. I could put another var there. This could be the best, and what I could do is make best another var, but let me stop, okay? You get the idea. You can add vars for anything. Okay, but I don't want it to say Atlanta, Georgia in this case. Okay, and so I want every instance of Atlanta, Georgia, Control-C, Control-H, Control-V to be replaced with the var1, for instance. Now, does it mean that that's really the right idea? No. If you want to say, if the name of their company is Atlanta, Georgia Plumbers or something, then maybe that's not the right idea. But I'm going to treat it that way in this instance. Replace all. You can always go and find cases where you just change it back. If somebody goes, how do you change one back? Well, watch this. Control-C, Control-F, Control-V. And let's say I was going to find the next one. Oh, there's one here. So I could, if this said we are located in, then that has to be Atlanta, Georgia, right? That's the idea. We're located in Atlanta, Georgia. Then I would just type it back, you know? Okay? And so that's how you would do it. Just wherever you are not using the var, you are free to use regular wording. Now, since it is saying serving, oh, I want that in there. Okay? All right. So now you see that you can use words any way you want. And the easiest way that I did it before was making this point. Let me just make a little white space. You could say the quick brown fox, okay, jumped over the lazy dog, okay, and that's signed by Mr. Fox Brown. Get it? Okay, I want that to be a variable, and I want that to be a variable, but I certainly do not want these to be a variable. So I will not make these variables. I will leave them static print, just like this. I'll make that a var, and I'll make that a var, but I'll leave this one alone. Okay, yeah, it works perfectly fine on the web page to make those choices as you go. So you can lock and load particular words where you need them, and then make everything else optional. Okay, file, save all. Just be very careful about the coding, right? Oh, I can't because right now it's being used by another program. Don't need to save. I didn't change anything. Okay, I just need to get back out to get back in. Okay, domain menu project. By the way, where did the project come from? Let me show you. When you come back here, this is the domain, and that is actually a domain token. We were saying like dummy.com, right? It could be anything. Dummy.org, dummy.net, dummy.ws. All of those work. Dummy.co.uk. Any of this works as the domain, and the domain goes all the way up to the slash over here. Okay. Once we hit this slash, that separates the domain token from the project folder, right? That's basically what this is. That's why I keep typing it the way I do. So how do you think those would look in HTML? Cancel. How do you think it would look here? Well, if you were trying to put those tokens on the page, they would look like this. Let me just give you some room and you'll see. Boom, boom. Domain, all uppercase. And then the next one would be project. Okay. Now think about it. This is domain slash project. Do I put HTTP colon? Do I do that? HTTP colon slash slash? No. You know why? Because that is here. That is part of our domain. This is the domain token. So if you put it here, it's going to be doubled up. HTTP colon slash slash HTTP colon slash slash, and that'll break the links. So let's get rid of that. Just domain slash project, because that's what comes next. This guy right here is the project. Whatever it says in here, the whole rest of this is the project. Should you have spaces in here? Definitely not. Should you put strange symbols in here? Absolutely not. Keep it just simple alphanumerics. Okay? Words and numbers, and that's it, and just dashes instead of spaces. You could put underscores, but don't. People don't remember stuff like that. It's kind of confusing. You'll even forget it. Just put dashes or no dashes. It's up to you. Okay? Usually use dashes to separate real words, but there you go. It's up to you. All right, so that's the domain token. Then comes the project token. What do you think would be the next thing on our list? Okay, the menu token. By the way, how does that look? I can start to fake it right now by putting it in. Boom, there it is. Now, I don't need to put domain and project in here for any reason at all. It's already on the sheet. This is where you put them. Domain and project go on the sheet. And not in the vars file. Everything else goes in the vars file. If you have a project folder, it goes in the vars file. Okay. But that would come next. And that also goes to say that your menu will be the first thing on your URL breakdown list. If you have a menu, and you should, then it will be there. And then after that comes a slash. Yes, you need to put the menu in, because without doing it, then it's not complete, the whole process, and it will not generate the sitemaps. Since you want the sitemaps, create a menu. Even a menu with just some arbitrary vars. You don't have to go do keyword analysis. Just make a menu out of any var and make sure it has at least 2 options under it so that you can make a menu with 2 items. Okay. Now here's something you're going to want to remember. Domain slash project slash menu slash, guess what? Sitemap.html. You know what that's going to wind up being? Here's an example. HTTP colon slash slash, your-domain.com slash this new project, Chicago, Atlanta plumbers slash, and then what? Our menu's based on keywords. Who knows what keywords we chose to use? You know, best plumbers or best plumbing company. I mean, it could be anything like that. Okay, slash, and then sitemap.html. Okay. Now, What's the point here? This is real, and it's got links, and these things are going to go up live on, and if you click this link, it will go to a sitemap showing more pages that belong to this section. Okay, not many, like 3 or 4, because every one of these folders will just have a few pages in them. So yeah, you're going to have a lot of sitemaps integrating, and that's good. It's healthy. It's hierarchical sitemaps. It's a very good way to do sitemaps. Google doesn't like to see one huge sitemap on a website full of clickable links where none of the links, or I'm sorry, where there's like 1,000 links to click on a page. Google knows that humans aren't going to read through all those links and try to make a decision. So Google never goes more than 200 links deep anyway on a given page, for example. And so there's no point in putting all the links on one page. But there you go. Domain/project/menu/sitemap.html will functionally work, and we will want this on our page in the footer, for instance. Okay, I'll show you a really cool way to put that bit of coding in. And this is an example of the output. That looks good. Now, the other bit that we're going to need to do is going to be this. Domain project menu. Okay, this is another piece that we're going to need, and it's actually going to be put in like, these are going to be put in like clickable links. We're going to use the coding to put them in like clickable links. It will be href. Okay, that's how you do it, equals, and then this whole thing in double quotes. And then we've got some verbiage here, related, topics, and that ends the link. And that means this is what's going to be like blue and underlined and clickable, right? That's the verbiage, right? For you to click and see other topics. It also means to Google that there's more links to, pages, and you can get to them. And so there's more ways to get to the same pages, which is good. It's healthy too. You get more inbound links to the pages. What else does it mean? You don't just have to stick with that. What could we put in there? We could say related something topics. What do we have? var2 and var3. Let's make more use of our keywords. var2, right? It could be like that. Related var2 topics. You get it? That way we can have our keyword in there. Now that's kind of cool, isn't it? That's a very good way to make use of it. Well, I'll show you what. That's our var1 and var2 routine going on. Now we could do that with our menu, related var2 or not, topics, but I'll even show you a better way to do this. Okay, let's leave this at related topics for now, because I'm going to show you how we're going to use var2 and var3. We wanted, like I said, to make 2 more links, and here's how they're going to come out. Okay, watch this. This is going to be one of those 2 that got created, var 8001. Okay, and you know that from seeing it on the file. Okay, let me get out of here for the moment. Okay, don't need to save it. We're gonna go. We're taking care of the rest of our file anyway. Okay, I'm just reminding you that when we created a menu, it created 3 columns. The menu column, even though it has this 3 opening carrots or whatever they are, opening tags over here in the menu. Don't let that confuse you. On the page, this is the appropriate way to do it. Just regularly menu. That's all. Just remember that. That's the oddity. Okay. But it also creates a var 8001 and a var 8002. So it's going to put pages into these folders. It'll create the folders and put pages on them. But we still have to put links to those sections on your website somehow, or there's not going to be anything on your website that goes to these sections. We want to create something that goes to these sections, so we're going to make the links that go here. Get it? Let me see. That's not right. Menu and var 8001 is doubled up. Let me come back. Yep, that's what looked wrong. So it's domain, then the project, and then whatever's in the menu, that's where it's going to create pages. Well, that's one example of some of those folders, okay? And that's all we need for the link, because it's going to automatically end this way if we don't specify it, right? If you know anything about what's going on, whenever Google does a search and lands inside a folder and it wasn't told what file to go for, it will look for index.html inside that folder. Okay, so the MOWG already creates an index.html inside every folder it makes. So when it makes this folder, it will put an index.html in there. When it makes that folder, it will put an index.html in there, and so on and so on. So that means if you go domain/project/ any one of these and just stop cold, then there will be a page there. Okay, so we're building those links up here. Okay, we're doing it. And it gives us 2 links on the page. One here, one there. And we split it in half so we don't have the same link on the same page. We don't have this twice. Okay, here's something. All right, here we go. That's why we didn't duplicate the whole list twice. We cut it in half, right? Which was done automatically when we did the menu generator anyway and said 2. It took the list and split it into 2 parts. This is cool. That way we have multiple links on the page going to other related pages, and that's good. All right, so let me leave that open and continue to show you. So there's one of our links that we're going to create, internal links on the page going to other pages on the same site. Here's another one. Okay. Now again, we do want to make those into links, so we are going to do this bit, Control C. And by the way, you're not going to have to really remember this because I'm going to send you like the completed version of it. Okay. Now we want it to end too, but it's got to end like this basically. Control C. Okay. So it's going to know to go to that link, but we don't want related topics. It's going to know to go to this link, but we don't want related topics. We already said related topics up here. You know what this is going to be? var2 and var3, our keyword vars that we created. Remember how we created 2 and I said split it in half? I said take your words and cut them in half and have 2. Well, we got 2. They happen to be var2 and var3 in this case. Well, guess what? Those get to be the words that we want to show up right in here. You might say, why not use the same var again? You could, couldn't you? You could just say, well, click here for that, right? Yeah, but it has dashes in between the words now. Whenever the words are multiple words, you're going to have dashes in between them, you know, for the links, right? All of these have dashes. I don't want that. I want the same words before the dashes were put in, okay? And that would make this, you know, like var3. And that would make the one above it var2, okay? All right, so we know this. This is good for SEO purposes, this one up here. And this can go away. This is just an example. And then these down here are 2 more links on the website that happen to just point at more of the pages we're creating for the website that we're going to stick down low in the footer. Now, what did this solve? It got our domain token on this page. It got our project token on this page. It got our menu token on this page. It got our var 8001 on this page, var 8002 on this page, var2 and var3 are on this page. Okay. Granted, I haven't put them in the footer where I want them to go, and I can cut it from here and go down, and we can do that. Okay. Let's go to the bottom and take a look. You'll see where we like to put this thing. We don't want to go all the way down to the coding. We want to stop before that, somewhere where it makes sense to stop before that. And guess where that would be? That would actually be in this paragraph up here, right before the closing with the address. And that's if we had that. You could take that out, of course, right? But what is this? This is the final closing links on the page, okay? And so let me just like paste this in here now so you can kind of see it, okay? It'll look sort of silly that way until this thing is just generated and everything, it fills it in. By the way, change the background again. Sorry about that. I was kind of playing around with something. So here we go. See these footer links? Home, about us, general services, kitchen, bathroom, exterior, emergency response. They're just wrap-up links. They do kind of the same thing that these did, and you know, the same things that these are doing. They're the same links, just at the bottom of the page. What we'd like to do is put these 3 links in there, like either in place of some of these or on a second line so that they neatly fit, you know, and they're in. or just in place of the whole thing if you didn't want these links at the bottom. But if you do want them at the bottom, it's one more chance to catch your visitors and get them on the right thing. When they hit the bottom of the page, now they can continue. Then what we'd like to do is get these just to show up on a separate line right here in the middle, maybe. Okay? Well, I can show you how. So let's take a look at that, right? Let's get back to what we were doing. Edit. Okay? Go to the bottom. I'll just show you how. Okay? Check it out. This is what we're going to do. Okay? Here's a paragraph, and it's got the whole home about us and everything. We didn't center the paragraph, but I guess we didn't need to. That's kind of interesting when I think about it. It just is centered. Okay, it's probably because it's in the divider ID called footer, and the footer has a rule that says do that. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wrap this in a paragraph tag, just the same way, and then put an end of paragraph tag here. Okay. Now that's almost perfect, except I want it on one line, and I want it to work like these do. This has a link, and when it gets to the end of the link, has a space, and then a pipe, and then a space, and then the next link that goes until it gets to the end. Then it does it again. Space, pipe, space. Next link, space, pipe, space. Next line. Okay. Well, we can do the same thing. And so we can go like this. Pipe, space, and that's where the next one goes. You know, so I could even just delete and get there. Space, pipe, space. That's where the next link goes. Okay. And I'm done. Except, honestly, there's one last thing I'd like to do. File save. Let me refresh. Yep, look at that. It's centered in everything. I probably want to put related topics at the end instead of the beginning. Now, that's just me being picky and just showing you can do it, right? Just in case, you know, lest we forget, we can do that kind of thing. So I'm going to cut this part right here, Control X. And since we don't need to start with a pipe, I'm going to take that out. And I'm going to put a space, pipe, space here and paste it in. Okay. So I just rearranged the order, right? File save. And you guys know where to find the pipe. And if you don't, look down at your keyboard, stare at your Enter key if you're on a QWERTY keyboard. It is the button above your Enter key. And so you need to hold down your Shift, and then you can hit for the pipe. See how I got it the other way around? When we go generating these pages and it fills in these tokens, these are going to look right, they're going to click right, and everything's going to be fine in the world. And this connects up that bit of the sitemap. The only other thing we need now is a link to the full sitemap. We could put that in here. We could put that in here. We can put it anywhere we like. Okay, we could even have it just be this light print down here in effect, right? But we need a sitemap link in there. Without a sitemap link on the main page of anything, actually, no, I'm making a mistake. We need a sitemap link on the main page of our site. We don't need it on our MOWG run per se. If we want to put one in, we can put one in. Let me just show you. Okay, if you wanted to put one in, edit, this is how you would do it. Okay, and we don't need to do it. It's all about link juice. It's a strategy. You have to make a decision whether you want to put one in. Let's just say I could do it on a new paragraph. I could do it down here. I could even make it at the end of my link. See how it does the ending? Acme Plumbers, and then it's got the address, and then it's got some spacing, zip code spacing, and it ends, right? That is exactly what you see at the very bottom. acmeplumbers.com, and then this right there, right? Forget about this up there. That's for software I have plugged in. And so here you go. Okay, well, let's say I wanted to put a sitemap link down in here, but it would shift it. It would go off of center. So maybe I don't. But anyway, I'll just put a sitemap link in, show you a couple of ways to do it real quick. So if I want to continue the theme, I'll go like this. Okay. Now, this time, I'm going to put it in like this. Here's how the sitemap link works. Okay. BAP. And then you put MOWG-sitemap.html. Okay. And then you can end it. And you need something, so you may as well say sitemap. And you can close that link out. Okay. File save. Boom. Okay. Those of you who play with fonts and stuff, you can size it down or whatever you like. You can set the font size to -1 or -2, and you can change the color to more to fade it a bit because it's less important the way this coloring is. Just don't get too close, right? Google actually doesn't like it when you hide this. Don't hide it. And besides, who cares? It's way down here. No one's going there. If they're interested in your stuff, they will have gotten interested up here somewhere. By the way, what's fun about this background, we were playing with it, is that it's a transparent GIF. Let me just show you what I mean. I mean this. If I go to theme and colors and I change the main color of the site to something else, okay, come back. Oh, unless I didn't change. Oh, maybe I didn't. Okay, let me just try something completely different then. Get the point across. Okay, let me try that. Probably can't see something that simple, but there you go. So you can actually change the color. It's repeating. We've got to set it, make it taller. But there you go. You get sort of, well, you get the idea. So you can make a transparent image like that, you know, basically any color you would like, right? So it's just up to you what you're looking for. Okay? Yeah, I wouldn't want that for a plumber site. I'd want something that looks a little more fresh, reasonable, like water. Okay. Anyway, there we go. We're kind of back. All right. Now, so all this stuff is in. All this stuff does work, and it's all in. And we can double check our work. Okay? Yeah, let's do that. Let's just double check our work. Let's come back here. All right, let's just see how this acts. MOWG. Load. Oh, not load. We don't have a profile to load yet. We haven't done one yet. Okay, that's plumber, and that's vars. Here we go again. d.org/s. Next. Oh, I had the file open. That's another thing never to do. It's sort of a no-no, right? You can't have the vars.csv open and use it at the same time. That won't work, okay? Because CSV files are pretty primitive. They can only be used by one process at a time. All right, so here we go. I'm just gonna, now remember, here's the new rule. You need to put the menu at the top, or it's gonna tell you that you're forgetting to do that, okay? Boom. So anyway, I'll just do it. Okay, so menu, it's near the bottom. Move it in. Click on it. Shove it to the top. And always put a slash and nothing else. That's it, just that. Okay, that's it. Don't put anything after it. Don't put any dash anything or something here. Don't do any of that. Menu and slash. That's all it's allowed to have at the top. That's how the top will look. And then whatever you want. And your ID column can go wherever you want to. So you might be like slash for geography and then you know, dash dash dash, and that might be it. Okay, it's kind of weird though. I'd probably put awesome up here, awesome plumbing supply, and then take the dash off the bottom. You're gonna have dash.html on everything. That would be weird. Okay, I might just capture the keywords for the menu, and maybe all I'm looking for, or I might capture that too. Take the focus off. Get myself keys. Notice how I didn't get stopped this time because I did put all of the vars into the HTML sheet. And I can process. Look at that. That's all the pieces that we needed to explain, and the only other thing after that really is FTP paths. And by the way, all the stuff that looked hard to do about that won't be, because I'll give this to you. And so there's just two versions of it. I'll give this to you and you can tweak it from there. You can just deal with it from there. This is pretty much it. You'll know what. Okay. Let me put this on a new notepad file. Okay. Control V. And I'll just give it a name. Save. Desktop. I'll give it some name soon, right? Okay. MOWG-menu-footer links. Okay. Now, if you have a subdomain, you do not have a project. What do I mean by that? I mean this. I'm going in here if I have a domain.com, it's domain.com / and I have project, right? Well, if I have a subdomain, it's different, isn't it? It goes like this. Project.domain.com, and there is no slash because there's no reason for a slash. There's nothing to separate. You don't need to put a slash because nothing's here. Okay? Well, guess what? That's a subdomain. So this whole thing becomes the domain token, and there is no project. Okay? So if you're doing subdomains, this part right here does not apply on the entire page. You can Control-C and delete the whole thing, right? Control-C, Control-H, Control-V, and replace all of that with nothing at all, okay, to get rid of it. And that's for subdomain. So I'm actually going to have two versions of it. Edit, undo, okay? And then what else do you need? You need to notice that your var2 won't really be var2 now, will it? Probably not. I mean, it could be. And your var3 will often not be var3. So you have to make those adjustments, okay? And that was it for the adjustments you have to make this thing work. But this, you can copy and paste on the page. Matter of fact, this is kind of neat. I can do it right now. Control-H. Yeah, replace it all. Take that as a copy. Control-C. And then I'm going to edit undo. That way I got it all back. But at the same time, I now have my copy. So this one's for projects, right? Standard project runs. And then this is for subdomain runs, okay? Okay. And that covers everything. Just remember about the var3. I'm going to call it, well, I'm not going to call it anything. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to let you notice var2 and var3, right? Okay. There you go. So I'll give it to you basically like that. Maybe with some other notes. Remember to change, be sure to change. Actually, yeah, that's what I should say, right? Be sure to update var2, right? And var3 numbers, right? To the right column for your project, current project. How's that? Okay. Okay, there's that. All right, the last thing that we really have to do is go through the whole FTP bit, like how do you upload the files to your domain? And so we can show you kind of the before and after of that, okay? So that'll be in the next recording. All right.